Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of the BG Show. I'm here to do a review of Squid Game Season 2, the latest season on Netflix that came out, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. So first, let me get into my non-spoiler thoughts. I never covered Season 1 in my Season 1 thoughts, so I'll do that. I guess I'll do that first. So, Season 1, I never really watched it back in 2020. Unfortunately, through Twitter and through a lot of memes and stuff like that, there were, some spoilers that I saw. But overall, a bunch of the show I didn't see, because there's so much filler, like when they're back in South Korea. And so those scenes I didn't see. But unfortunately, there was some stuff that I knew about. So there will be spoilers, I guess, in Season 1. If you haven't seen it, I'll talk about it now. So I knew there was something up with the old guy. I didn't know if he was in charge. I kind of had a feeling. I didn't know too much about the front man and his relationship, about his brother and whatnot. And I knew the red light, green light game, but I didn't know a bunch of the other games, so I was still kind of curious. And I really like Season 1. It's definitely a different type of show. I think, I haven't watched a lot of South Korean TV, so I'm not sure if, it's unique, if all the South Korean show has kind of, this vibe, or if it's unique to this show. But I really, really dug it. I think the fact that it's South Korean honestly adds a lot to the show. I don't know what it is. I just think, if these were all Americans, I don't think you'd feel as bad about them dying. I don't think Americans come off as honorable and as noble as a lot of these characters. And I think the storytelling is just better. And even watching, just watching it in a different language, reading the subtitles, although it's a little bit tiring just because you have to, it's really not only absorbing it, but it's really reading. As much as people rip on this, so you don't like subtitles, it's definitely a different experience. Yes, it forces you to pay attention, but you're still reading, which is different than hearing. It's just you're engaging your brain more, so it is more work. But I really enjoyed Season 1. Definitely a gruesome show. A show where from the beginning pretty much everyone's going to die. The one weakness of the show is, I think, I guess the back and forth, the one paradox of the show is that it wants to almost do what Lost did, right? Where episode by episode, it starts to develop each side character more and more, so that when something happens to the side character, you have all this backstory, you care about the character more. That's the strength of the show. The problem is when you do that, you start to make those characters more into main characters, and then it becomes obvious who's going to live and who's going to die. I think it may have been a little bit stronger, Lee Jung-jae, who's the main character, if maybe you had a mix of 5 or 6 main characters, and it was kind of it was shared, and that way you didn't really know who was going to win or lose. But obviously tough to do that because you know who the main actors are, and when you have a show as big as this with not only millions but probably billions of dollars on the line, you have to, you can't just roll the dice with the actors. You have to know who you're going with. So yeah, Season 1 was solid. Now I'm going to get into Season 2. I guess Season 2 non-spoiler thoughts first. A different kind of season. Only 7 episodes. I think the first one was at least 8, maybe 10. I want to say 10, but it definitely felt shorter. It's really hard to judge Season 2. It definitely ended on a cliffhanger, so it wasn't a complete story. It depends how they finish Season 3. I definitely think the show will end in Season 3. It seems like they're going to wrap it up, almost like a trilogy of TV with 3 seasons, but who really knows? I'm not really sure what more they can do on the show once, the island gets discovered. But overall, like I said, if you've seen Season 1, definitely watch it. If you haven't seen the show at all, it's totally worth it. It's definitely a little bit of a, not gruesome, it's not like Saw, no one is really getting limbs hacked off or stuff like that. But there's just a lot of people dying, and there's a lot of blood splatter, and there's a lot of gunshots. So really, really solid. It's very immersive. I'm not someone who binges a lot of TV, but I definitely was binge the season all the way through. I finished it in 2 days or a day and a half. So let me just get into spoiler thoughts now. I think you got the gist of it. I like the show. And so spoiler warning in 3, 2, 1. So Season 2, what I like about this is that it kind of takes place not right after Season 1. It's 3 years later, but from a narrative standpoint, it's pretty much right after, right? Because he's still looking for the island, and everyone's still looking for the island. And what I really like about this is that they don't just brush under the rug everything that happened. A lot of shows do that, where you're waiting, and you're like, what the hell? They're not doing anything. And what I like about this show is they're doing what you would do as a viewer in the situation. So going to if you had all that money, yes, I'm going to hire a huge gang of guys, and we're going to go to all the subway stops for 2 years, and we're going to find this guy. And then we're going to put a GPS tracker in me, and then we're going to find the guy in the club. And like, they do everything that they're supposed to do. Obviously, they fuck up a lot because they should have had something more than the tooth, and they should have had a backup plan in case when Lee Jung Jae got to the island, they took his tooth out. But overall, I thought the backstory, the fact that they didn't go straight to the games, and there was like this, I really enjoyed those 2 or 3 episodes beforehand. The guy throwing the shit down on the floor, the cards down. I enjoyed it. In terms of the games itself, I thought it was really smart to keep the red light, green light in. I think that's like the iconic kind of game of the show. I think that's what this show is mostly known for, and what went the most viral. I wish I could watch the show and kind of not have known what was going to happen, because I feel like that was such a shocking moment. So I really liked that they kept that. The games in this season, I'm trying to think. I definitely got to do a rankings of the games. I'm not really sure if I liked them more or not. I think I liked them. So the games where they obviously had red light, green light. They had the game where they were like on the merry-go-round and they had to get into the rooms. I thought that game was kind of cool. It definitely was a different style of game. I thought the hardest game definitely was like the mini games. I thought was cool, where they're 5 are chained up and they have to play the mini games. I thought that was a good scene. And were there any games that I'm missing? I think, was there one more? I think that we played 3. I could be missing one, but I definitely got to do a rankings of the games. And I also, like I said, I like how they were really realistic. I like that there is a revolt and there's an uprising, which is like a big, pretty much the main second half of the season is, they organize this uprising and they shoot all the guards. And I think this season, what I really like is just, they're really just showing you what would probably happen if an uprising happened. It's surprising how many people chickened out. I think the one realistic thing is, I think people are voting to get the hell out of there. I don't think it's 50-50. After seeing people die, you'd have so much PTSD, especially if you're making money on top of leaving. I mean, I don't know what I don't know what it was up to, but it was up to like 300,000 each in South Korean. So that would have been, I don't know what that is. It's obviously way less in American dollars, but it's still a decent amount. So obviously that's one of the things you have to kind of ignore. And then the big twist, or the big plot line of the season, which maybe I should have talked about first, is the front man being player one, which I love. I just like being a video game player. Just player one is such like an iconic term, in my opinion. But this actor did a great job. He's super menacing. The fact that he was player one almost, I thought, made it a little bit too obvious. They should have been more suspicious of him. But I thought it was a good plot line. The one thing I'm surprised about is how many people online are talking about it being a twist. Like, there are people who watched your show and didn't know he was the front man till the end, which is insane. Like, clearly that was the twist of not episode 1, but the first time when they placed the vote and you see player 1 do it, that was the twist. I think it's a good twist to have him kind of come in the game and kind of keep it going. We'll see how it ends, but yeah, we'll see how much they get into this world. They didn't really get into like who's organizing these games. They have these shadow rich guys, almost like from Hostel, just like these rich white guys or ambiguous rich people kind of show up and watch the last game. But I'm not really sure what they'll get into. The memes are really funny, I can't lie. And that's a huge part of the show, is just how viral it's gotten online. But yeah, I really, really like this. During the revolt, they pretty much take him hostage again. And so we'll see where this show goes into season 3. Season 3 luckily is coming out this year in 2025. I was not in the mood to wait another 3 years for this season, so I'm glad that's happening. It was okay from 2020 till now. There was a writer's strike and whatnot and the pandemic, but I think it was smart to stack season 3 on top of season 2. Like I said, it's hard to judge season 2 without seeing what they do in season 3, because it could be really bad or really good. But overall, I just hope they wrap it up. It's a super unique show. That's why it's so successful. There's really no show like it that I've seen. There's elements of Saw. There's different elements. The one thing is, do you want to play a game? I always think of Saw. I think they got to stop saying it. No matter how many times they say it in the show, I still think of Jigsaw every time. But that's really my only complaint. So thanks, guys, for watching. It's tough to judge this with season 1 because season 1 has the shock factor. We didn't know what we were going to get. But certainly a quality season. I give season 1 like an 8, and I give the season like a 7 or 7.5. Really, really good. I think they got you reinvested in the new characters and the new cast, which is really tough to do. I didn't think I'd be able to get reinvested in a whole new cast of characters, but I did. So that's my review of Squid Game Season 2. Thanks, guys, for watching. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.